Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that will change your life if you embrace it. You see, we live in a world where knowledge is everywhere. Books, seminars, podcasts, the internet, endless sources of information. But here's the truth, knowledge alone is not enough. It's not knowledge that will change your life, it's action. I know many people who are brilliant. They've read every book, attended every seminar, and memorized every quote. They know what they should do. But here's the kicker, they don't do it. They know, but they don't act. And that, my friends, is where the real difference lies. Knowledge without action is a concept that often gets overlooked in today's world of constant learning and self-improvement. We live in an age where information is more accessible than ever before, and many people invest countless hours absorbing knowledge. Books, podcasts, seminars, and courses are readily available, and the sheer volume of information can make us feel like we're becoming experts. But here's the truth, knowledge in isolation is powerless. It's not enough to just know something, you must act on it to create real change. When we accumulate knowledge without applying it, we are merely storing data. Information that sits in your mind, untouched and unused, doesn't change your life. It's like having a library of books but never opening them. Imagine you have a powerful tool in your hand, but you leave it on the shelf. The tool does nothing, and neither will the knowledge you possess if you don't use it. Action is the catalyst that transforms knowledge into results. Without action, knowledge becomes a passive, abstract thing. Think of it this way, learning without action is like planting seeds and never watering them. You have all the potential for growth, but without nurturing those seeds with the necessary effort, they'll never sprout. Likewise, the knowledge you gain won't bear fruit unless you actively apply it to your life. Consider the case of someone who has read all the books on fitness but never actually works out. They may know all the theories about nutrition, exercise routines, and muscle growth, but if they never put that knowledge into practice, it's irrelevant. The information doesn't serve them. They're stuck in a cycle of knowledge acquisition without any forward movement. Real transformation happens when you take what you know and use it to create change in your life. In this case, that would mean getting off the couch and actually starting to exercise. Action forces us to test the validity of our knowledge in the real world. When we act on what we've learned, we see whether our understanding holds up or if we need to adjust our approach. Knowledge without action is just theory. But when we put theory into practice, we learn. We learn what works, what doesn't, and how to adapt along the way. That's where growth happens through experimentation, mistakes, and course corrections. Take the example of someone wanting to start a business. They might read every book on entrepreneurship, attend seminars, and listen to every podcast about business strategies. But if they never take the step to start their own business, all that knowledge will never lead to success. It's action that brings opportunities. Only by taking a leap into the unknown, by making mistakes and learning from them, do they truly understand what it takes to succeed in business. Knowledge is the foundation, but without action, that foundation is useless. The idea that knowledge alone leads to success is a misconception. In reality, knowledge only leads to success when it's paired with consistent, deliberate action. A person who knows what they need to do but doesn't act on it is simply wasting time. They may be gaining intellectual satisfaction, but they're not moving closer to their goals. Action is what bridges the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. It's the piece that turns your understanding into tangible results. Another crucial point is that action teaches us more than knowledge alone ever will. By taking action, we gain experience, which is the true teacher. Through trial and error, we uncover nuances and develop deeper insights that no textbook can provide. Theoretical knowledge can guide you, but it's only by stepping into the real world and doing the work that you truly understand the lessons at a deeper level. Real-world application provides context for abstract ideas, making them much more meaningful and impactful. It also builds your confidence as you see the direct outcomes of your efforts. Furthermore, acting on your knowledge helps you break free from the trap of overthinking and perfectionism. It's easy to get caught in a cycle of planning and preparing without ever actually doing. You might think that once you have all the facts, all the information, and a perfect strategy, you'll be ready. But in reality, waiting for the perfect moment often leads to inaction. The longer you wait, the more time you waste. There's no perfect moment, there's only the present, and the best way to learn is to start acting now. Even if it's messy or imperfect, the act of doing will give you more clarity than any amount of research or preparation ever will. Let's also talk about results. At the end of the day, it's results that matter. No one cares how much knowledge you have if you're not getting the results you want. You might know everything about how to build wealth, but if you don't act on that knowledge, your bank account will remain unchanged. Similarly, you might have all the knowledge about how to improve your health, but if you don't take action, your body will not reflect that knowledge. Knowledge is meant to be a tool to create outcomes. If it's not generating results, it's not serving its purpose. Finally, there's the issue of wasted potential. Every person has vast potential to achieve great things, but potential remains untapped without action. When you learn something new, you're essentially unlocking the door to new possibilities. But if you never walk through that door, you'll never know what's on the other side. Knowledge is the key to that door, but it's action that allows you to step into new opportunities, experiences, and success. In conclusion, while knowledge is important, it's action that makes knowledge truly powerful. Without action, knowledge is just information in your mind. It's not until you take that knowledge and apply it to your life that it becomes meaningful. Action is the bridge between theory and reality, between learning and growth. So don't just collect knowledge, use it. Take what you've learned and put it into practice. Because it's action, not knowledge alone, that will change your life. Action creates momentum. This is one of the most powerful principles you can embrace in your journey toward success. Momentum is a force that propels us forward, making tasks easier, motivation more accessible, and results more achievable. But momentum doesn't come from thinking or planning. It is generated through action. In fact, the act of doing something, no matter how small, is what fuels the momentum that leads to greater achievements. Many people get stuck in the planning phase. They envision the future, they create the most detailed to-do lists, and they set ambitious goals. But often they don't take the necessary action to start making progress. They get trapped in the comfort of knowing what they need to do without actually doing it. It's easy to feel good about your plans, but nothing happens until you take that first step. And that first step doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be taken. The idea of momentum is simple. When you take action, no matter how small, it creates a ripple effect that makes it easier to continue moving forward. In physics, momentum is the force that an object gains as it starts moving. Similarly, when you take action, you create a force that pushes you toward your goal. The more you move, the easier it becomes to keep moving. Action becomes its own driving force, making the next task seem less daunting, and the next step easier to take. Think about how a snowball rolls down a hill. At first it's small and slow, but as it picks up speed and size, it gains more and more momentum. The same thing happens when you take action. In the beginning, it may feel like a struggle, and progress might seem slow. But as you continue, you begin to gain momentum, and what was once difficult becomes easier and more natural. It's like unlocking a new level of energy that pushes you through obstacles, challenges, and doubts. For example, imagine you've been wanting to get fit but have been procrastinating. You've read all the books, watched all the workout videos, and know exactly what you should do. But you haven't taken action. Now, think about finally lacing up your sneakers and stepping outside for a walk. The first day might feel difficult. You might not walk as fast as you'd like, and you might feel out of shape. But after a few days, you notice that you're walking further and faster. You start to enjoy it. And soon, the thought of exercising isn't so daunting. What started as a small action snowballs into a healthy habit that becomes part of your lifestyle. This is the essence of momentum. It's not about waiting for motivation to strike or hoping for the perfect conditions. Momentum is created by taking action and letting that action build upon itself. Even when things feel tough or you don't see immediate results, you're laying the groundwork for future success. The more you do, the more energy and motivation you generate, and the easier it becomes to keep moving forward. Another key benefit of momentum is that it helps you overcome resistance. Resistance is that internal force that tries to keep you in your comfort zone, convincing you that it's easier to stay where you are than to take action. This resistance is natural and often a sign that you're on the verge of growth. The best way to break through resistance is to take action no matter how small. The moment you take the first step, resistance begins to fade and momentum takes over. The power of momentum also lies in its ability to change your mindset. When you take consistent action, you start to see results, even if they're small. These results build your confidence and reinforce the belief that you can achieve your goals. With each step you take, you reaffirm your capability, and the momentum grows stronger. This shift in mindset is crucial for long-term success because it creates a positive feedback loop. Action leads to results, which leads to more action, which leads to more results. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about momentum is that it requires perfect action. They think they need to know everything before they start, or that they must have everything perfectly planned. But this mindset actually holds people back. The truth is that momentum is built through imperfect, messy action. The key is to start and then learn as you go. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, you'll find that the path forward becomes clearer. The more you act, the more opportunities you create to learn, grow, and adapt. Take an entrepreneur starting a new business as an example. They may have 1,000 ideas, but they don't know exactly how everything will unfold. The temptation is to wait until they have all the answers, but this approach can paralyze them. Instead, they need to take that first step, whether it's creating a website, reaching out to potential clients, or testing a product. At first, things may not go perfectly, but with each step they take, they learn valuable lessons that help them improve and refine their strategy. That early action creates the momentum they need to keep moving forward and eventually succeed. Momentum also has a compounding effect. The more action you take, the more experience you gain, which means you become better at what you do. Small wins add up over time, leading to bigger wins and greater progress. You can see this principle at work in virtually every area of life. A small investment in learning today can lead to greater opportunities tomorrow. A small effort in fitness today can lead to dramatic changes in your health over time. It's the steady, consistent action that builds upon itself and creates long-lasting success. Finally, momentum can help you stay focused and avoid distractions. Once you start moving towards your goals, it becomes much harder to be sidetracked. Your momentum keeps you on track, and the clarity that comes from taking action helps you focus on what matters most. Momentum not only pushes you forward, it helps you maintain your direction and stay committed to your goals. In conclusion, action is the key to building momentum, and momentum is the key to success. It's through consistent, imperfect action that we generate the force that propels us forward. The more you act, the more momentum you create, making it easier to continue moving toward your goals. So take that first step today and let the momentum carry you to success. The power is in your hands. Just begin and watch how momentum works in your favor. The idea that you need perfect knowledge before you can take action is one of the biggest misconceptions that hold people back from achieving their goals. Too often we find ourselves trapped in the cycle of endless learning, reading books, attending seminars, and gathering information, thinking that once we know everything, we'll be ready to take the leap. But the truth is, you don't need perfect knowledge. What you need is perfect action. The real learning happens through experience, not theory. It's easy to become paralyzed by the need to have all the facts, figures, and strategies lined up before you move forward. We convince ourselves that without absolute certainty or expertise, we're not ready to act. But the reality is, waiting for perfection will only keep you stuck. There's no such thing as perfect knowledge in any field because the world is constantly changing. The most successful people are not the ones who wait for the perfect understanding. They're the ones who take action with what they have, learn from their mistakes, and adjust along the way. Let's think about this from a practical standpoint. You may be thinking of starting a business. You could spend months or even years studying everything about entrepreneurship, marketing strategies, financial planning, customer acquisition techniques, and more. But even after all that learning, you still won't have all the answers. You'll never know exactly how the market will respond to your product or how to handle the inevitable challenges until you actually start. The truth is, you could learn everything there is to know about running a business, but until you take action, all that knowledge is just theoretical. You can't truly understand how to navigate the challenges of business until you're actually in the trenches, experiencing it firsthand. Perfect knowledge doesn't exist, and expecting to know everything before you act is an illusion. The key is to take action, even if you don't have every answer. Action is what builds experience, and experience is what leads to true understanding. You don't need to know every detail in advance. What you need is to be willing to step into the unknown, learn as you go, and adapt as necessary. Consider someone learning how to play a musical instrument. You could study theory, endlessly learn about scales, chords, and rhythms, but you won't truly understand how to play until you pick up the instrument and start practicing. You can spend years reading music theory, but the moment you start playing and making mistakes, that's when you truly learn. It's through action, making sounds, experimenting with rhythms, and adjusting your approach that your knowledge becomes refined and more effective. The more you practice, the more your understanding of the instrument deepens. The same is true in any field. Action leads to understanding. In many cases, people overestimate the need for knowledge and underestimate the power of doing. We often hold back from taking action because we feel unqualified or underprepared. We believe that we must wait until we feel fully ready. But readiness doesn't come from knowing everything, it comes from doing. When you take action, you build confidence, you gain new insights, and you start to see where your knowledge is lacking. It's through this process of doing and reflecting that you can grow and refine your approach. The more you act, the clearer the path becomes, and the more knowledge you acquire along the way. This is where the concept of learning by doing comes into play. The best way to learn is through trial and error. When you take action, even if it's imperfect, you gather real-world feedback. You learn what works, what doesn't, and what needs to be adjusted. This process helps you refine your strategies and approach. Waiting for perfect knowledge means waiting for the ideal conditions, which never come. But once you start acting, you gain the insights you need to make better decisions, course correct, and progress toward your goals. Let's look at another example. Suppose you want to lose weight and live a healthier lifestyle. You could spend months researching diet plans, workout routines, and supplements, but at some point you need to start taking action. You can learn about the importance of nutrition, the right exercises, and the best habits, but until you actually make the decision to eat healthier and start exercising, all that knowledge is meaningless. The first few weeks might be challenging. You might make mistakes and fall off track. But each time you take action, even imperfectly, you're learning more about what works for your body and what doesn't. The action you take is what builds the momentum and insight that leads to lasting change. By taking action, you also develop resilience. Life and business aren't about avoiding mistakes, they're about learning from them. Action exposes you to challenges and obstacles, and those experiences make you better prepared to face similar situations in the future. Mistakes are valuable learning opportunities. Every time you fail, you gain a deeper understanding of the process and become more adept at making the right choices moving forward. What's important is not perfection, but progress. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you think about everything you don't know, but the key is to focus on taking small, consistent steps forward. Each step you take, no matter how imperfect, moves you closer to your goal. The more you act, the more momentum you create, and the more you learn along the way. Over time, those small actions compound, and you look back and realize just how far you've come. It's this continual process of acting, learning, and adapting that creates lasting success. One of the greatest advantages of taking action is that it builds momentum, which in turn propels you forward. Once you start moving, it becomes easier to keep going. You don't need to have everything figured out from the start. What you need is the courage to act on what you already know, and as you do, you'll discover new insights that take you to the next level. In conclusion, the idea that you need perfect knowledge before you can take action is a myth. What you need is perfect action that is imperfect, messy, and often uncertain. The real learning happens when you step into the unknown and start doing. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Take action, make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Knowledge is important, but action is what turns knowledge into results. You don't need to know everything before you begin. You just need to start, and the rest will unfold as you go. Learning is an essential part of personal and professional growth, but it's important to understand that it is not the ultimate end goal. Too often, people focus on the acquisition of knowledge itself, believing that once they have all the information, they will have reached their final destination. However, the true purpose of learning is to use that knowledge as a tool to make meaningful changes in your life, solve problems, and improve your circumstances. Knowledge alone does not lead to success. How you apply it is what truly matters. In a world where information is abundant and readily available, learning has become more accessible than ever before. We have books, courses, podcasts, and webinars that provide us with endless amounts of knowledge on virtually every subject imaginable. However, the abundance of knowledge can sometimes lead to the misconception that learning itself is the primary objective. While gaining knowledge is valuable, it becomes irrelevant if it's not put to practical use. Learning, when seen as an end goal, leads to stagnation because it focuses on gathering information without any tangible results or outcomes. The purpose of learning is to create action. The knowledge you acquire should serve as a tool that empowers you to take steps toward achieving your goals, whether personal or professional. Imagine you learn all the techniques and strategies for building a successful business, but you never actually apply them. You can memorize every principle and understand every tactic, but your business won't grow without action. Learning is the starting point, not the finish line. It is the foundation upon which you must build with deliberate, consistent effort. The danger of focusing solely on learning is that it can lead to what some call paralysis. By analysis, people spend so much time absorbing information that they never take the next crucial step of implementation. You might find yourself constantly researching or preparing, but the moment to act never seems to come because you're waiting for the perfect understanding or the ideal conditions. In reality, there is no perfect moment, and the best way to learn is by doing. The action you take is where the real learning happens. You refine your understanding through experience, mistakes, and improvements. This process allows knowledge to evolve into something more practical, more dynamic, and more impactful. Learning should empower you to act, but it can't do that if it's merely a theoretical pursuit. Real progress only occurs when knowledge is translated into real-world experience. Take the example of a person who wants to improve their health. They might read countless books about fitness and nutrition, but if they don't put that knowledge into practice by exercising and eating well, nothing will change. Knowledge about how to build muscle or lose weight is useless if it isn't applied through the actions you take daily. Action brings the knowledge to life and transforms it into results. Furthermore, learning is an ongoing process, not a destination. Once you acquire new knowledge, it is essential to continue applying it, refining it, and expanding it. The world is constantly changing, and the application of knowledge requires continuous learning. However, the goal should always be to use that knowledge to take the next step in your journey. If you learn something and fail to apply it, you've wasted an opportunity for growth. Instead of obsessing over focus on how much you are actually doing with that knowledge. Action is what keeps you progressing forward, and learning is the fuel that powers that movement. One of the key benefits of treating learning as a tool is that it enables you to adapt and problem solve. Life is filled with challenges, and success comes from the ability to navigate these challenges effectively. Learning provides you with the tools you need to solve problems, make decisions, and improve yourself. However, these tools only become valuable when used in real-world situations. Whether you're facing obstacles in your career, relationships, or personal development, the knowledge you gain can help you find solutions, but only if you act on it. Knowledge without action is like a hammer in the toolbox. It can't do anything unless it's picked up and used. Consider someone learning to be a great public speaker. They may study books on the art of communication, practice techniques for building rapport, and understand the psychological aspects of engaging an audience. But none of that matters unless they actually speak in front of people. The real learning comes from the experience of standing in front of an audience, adjusting on the fly, and applying the techniques in real time. You learn more about the nuances of communication, timing, and audience engagement through action than you ever could from reading or watching others. It is through these experiences that knowledge becomes wisdom. Additionally, learning is not just about accumulating information, it's about developing a mindset that drives action. When you learn, you gain perspective and insight. You learn to see the world through a different lens, which can challenge your assumptions, reshape your beliefs, and spark new ideas. However, if that insight doesn't translate into action, it doesn't lead to growth. The true value of learning lies in its ability to change how you think and how you behave. Action is the manifestation of that change. If knowledge doesn't change your behavior, it hasn't fully served its purpose. Another key aspect of learning as a tool is that it fosters personal development. Every time you take action based on what you've learned, you develop new skills, build confidence, and become more capable. The more you apply your knowledge, the more proficient you become in using it. Success in any area of life is a result of continuously learning, applying that knowledge, and improving along the way. You're constantly growing, adjusting, and adapting, and your success becomes a reflection of your ability to leverage the knowledge you've gained. In conclusion, learning is a tool, an essential one, but a tool nonetheless. It's not the end goal, it's the beginning. The real value of learning lies in how you use it to make decisions, solve problems, and improve your life. Knowledge in isolation does not lead to change or success. It is only through action that learning becomes meaningful. If you want to achieve your goals, you must take what you've learned and put it into practice. Don't get stuck in the pursuit of knowledge for knowledge's sake. Use it as the foundation for action, growth, and transformation.